what exactly the government can and should do, to help the residents in Port Harcourt. We are not talking about Lagos, because Lagos, they have their own score. We don't even know what they plan on doing, but that's Lagos. This is Port Harcourt, and Port Harcourt people are saying, we have to do something different, here. So government, be up and about. Now, we are going to be talking about rent issues, but interestingly, I'm asking this morning, ladies and gentlemen, if you, as the tenant, right? I have two questions. If you know your rights, right? And if you spent more than 5 years in Port Harcourt, how well do you think landlords keep to their tenancy agreements, right, in Port Harcourt? Now, you, as a tenant, you have a right to a written agreement. That's, you go there, you should be able to see some paper and that says, oh, you do this, you don't turn my house into a brothel and things like that. You have a right to quiet enjoyment, right? That means in your space you have your right to do, experience a level of peace and tranquility, right? You also have a right to basic amenities. I have heard there's some landlords, right, do not make provision for toilet facilities or water to be provided in their compounds, yet they are wickedly, you see, I'm not trying to whip up sentiments. I'm actually stating it as it truly is, based off of the experience of some of you who have spoken to me. Wickedly still collect rent in those or on those properties. But the biggest one this morning, and it looks like I'm going to be attacking them, but I'm not, right? But this is a complaint many people have made to me, particularly since January 5th of this year. The biggest one is this, people of God, that tenancy agreement, that payment that you make, they call it legal fee, right? What in good God's gracious name, right, is a legal fee meant to cost nearly 10 to, in some places, even 20% of the rent. So your rent is 200,000 naira. So landlords say, the lawyer in charge of this place is charging a legal fee of 20,000 naira. Listen to me, it's not even increased. Some legal fees have not even gotten as much as 100,000 naira for maybe a rent of maybe 900,000 naira in this Port Harcourt. Why are the lawyers more interested in rent agreements, their legal fees, but they're not protecting the rights of the tenants and as well trying to keep peace between tenants and landlords? So, let me open the phone line. Before I start telling you all the stories I've heard in the past, this is 19, 20, in the past 10 days, all right? 15 days actually.
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeriainfo FM. Nigeriainfo, let's talk.
With Jude on 92.3 Nigeriainfo.
All right, so at Nigeriainfo PH, at Nigeriainfo PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X at Nigeriainfo PH. WhatsApp is 0809-030-6416. 0809-030-6416. How well do landlords keep to the tenancy agreement? Is the landlord making sure that your water pump gets fixed, or you have water in the first case? Is the landlord, fixing up, the roof when it leaks, or does it transfer that responsibility to you? It's not like you climbed there, rain just fell, bam, 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 bam. And then, which is one of the reasons why a lot of you have been complaining the past few days, what exactly is the justification for a landlord to increase rent for a place where you have spent 4 or 5 years and he has not repainted, he has not changed the pipes, you are the ones doing everything, yet this landlord... I'm going to keep quiet right now. Anthony Sinomoko. Anthony, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Jude. How are you doing?
Very well, good morning.
Yeah, happy you know it.
Yeah, we should say.
Most of our landlords, I don't want to use the word wicked, but they are heartless.
Okay. Not too much.
Do you know that, I'm staying here in Hamburg, my landlord gave me a quick notice, and the day he asked me to sorry.
Did they ask you? Did they ask you to leave? Was what? What happened that day?
The day that my rent is that is the day that his lawyer wrote to me that I should park.
Okay.
And as I'm telling you, this house is an old house with a lot of things.
Wrong. Did they give you a 6 months notice? Did you know about a 6 months notice? Hello? Oh dear. Anthony, you have to call back. Most likely your reception. Henry is on the line. Let me just quickly. Henry, good morning from Ikorodu.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, Henry, please, I'm going to ask you to call back. We're going on a break very short in about 20 seconds. Just call us back, all right, in about 3 minutes, and I would love to get to hear from you, please.
It's all right then.
Thank you very much, Henry. Okay, now, messages started to drop. I understand. Don't worry. Like I said, we need to give a holistic picture to the governor of Rivers State, to the commissioners. Let's see what can be done.
Nigeriainfo.
Station, and I am your harbinger of delectable discuss. Yes. Now, this morning, let me once again apologize, because these are the comments of people over the past 2 weeks that have come through to me. From about the 5th of December, I've had at the very least 6 or 7 complaints about the rent increases and how the space in Port Harcourt in particular has become maybe a little more toxic than it used to be. Now, there's several factors to this. One, I think, without a doubt, is the lack of regulation and monitoring and enforcement of laws here in this part of the world. I think that's one, if not the most major of them all. Now, of the 5 or 6 comments or complaints I've received, one thing was common, right? And that is those tenancy agreements seemingly were highly pushed by those who were in charge. So you had either the landlords or the legal practitioners, the lawyers who were in charge of these buildings. Yes, some landlords now give their buildings to a lawyer to manage for them. They take their rent and pass on. Now, the question on some of the prospective tenants is, June, what exactly is the reason behind a tenancy agreement being more than 10% of that rent? So my rent is 200,000 naira in one of the cases that was sent to me. And the person says, yes, I was coming in. Why exactly should the legal fee be 50,000 naira? In addition to 200,000 naira, what exactly am I signing? That I will not use the place as a brothel? No problem. That I will not damage the house? No problem. Right? I understand that the legal document there is binding. It's basically me and the landlord saying this is what we're going to do, and the legal representative acting as the witness. I can understand that, but Jude, what is it doing beyond that? If I do violate the terms of the agreement, right, I can get sued. But very often that doesn't happen. What usually happens is that they kick these tenants out, and they do so forcefully and sometimes in ultra vires. Yes, sometimes in ultra vires of the law. It seems as though, and look, if you listen to me, you're my friend, or you have contacted me before, or we have some form of interaction, and you are a legal practitioner, you're a lawyer, please, once again, do not take this as an assault. This is basically what some of the comments the everyday person in Port Harcourt is expressing. That it seems as though the lawyers, right, many of the lawyers in Port Harcourt are more interested in settling land matters. They're more interested in getting rent. They're more interested, in being the legal representative of Jude and Jude Housing Estate than they are in pursuing what is right and what is wrong, aka protecting citizens and telling them what their rights are. The law as it is. Now, the other complaint is this, particularly from landlords. There's this thing called caution fee. Your rent is 200,000. The landlord says caution fee is 30 or 50,000 because, in case there are damages and you are leaving, it's going to help the landlord fix those things so that the house is just about the same for the next or the prospective tenant. But many of you have said that, one, they don't return, most landlords, from what I gathered, right, do not return their caution fee. Maybe because some of you tenants are not responsible individuals. You mess up somebody's house, you leave the place derelict, this is not wear and tear, because the law says that you are meant to have that money for reasonable wear and tear. So if your wear and tear, right, is not reasonable, if you decide to bore holes in the man's building to put 70 televisions, and when you live in the place looks defaced, you have to pay. If the apartment was painted blue, and when you came in, you had to paint it black and put your gods and the things you worship on the wall, making it unsavory looking for another person, you have to pay. But a good number of you have stated that you more often than not leave that premises better than it used to be before, and then the landlord does not return your caution fee. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your conversation station.
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeriainfo FM. Nigeriainfo, let's talk.
With Jude on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
All right, so 017-923-0003, 0817923-0007, 0817923-0003, 0817923-0007. At Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH, how well do landlords keep tenancy agreements in Port Harcourt is our question. Now, since the end of last year, tail end of last year, there's been a lot of comments and complaints about the rise in rent in this part of the world. Yes, it's the inflation. Nobody can blame anybody. 39-40% inflation over the past 2 years. And it's only abated not even abated. It only stagnated, I think, if I'm not mistaken, about 1 or 2 months in the entire 24-month period under review. Now, that being said, the rate at which the rent has increased, people have said it's unjustifiable. Some say, well, you don't blame the landlords. But once again, our conversation now about how high the rent is, it is on your tenancy rights. 1, do you know your tenancy rights? And 2, how well are the landlords in Port Harcourt keeping to those tenancy agreements? Henry from Ikorodu is on the line. We have Zion in GRA. Good morning to you, Henry.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, please.
Yes, I would like to say, first, we are talking about security here, about e-hailing drivers.
No, Henry, we're not talking about e-hailing drivers. I think you had the wrong conversation, Henry. We have the wrong conversation. We're talking about rent in Port Harcourt. That's why I was curious that you're calling from Ikorodu. All right, Henry, thank you very much. Zion's on the line from GRA. Good morning, Zion.
The views and opinion of Mr. Zion on this program is strictly Mr. Zion. Jude, any landlord you see that tells you there is a legal fee is a criminal. And I challenge him anywhere. Are you the tenant that should pay the legal fee? Are you the one? Number 2, any landlord that tells you to pay a caution fee, look at the name, caution fee, is a criminal, a thief, and a destroyer of River State.
Easy now, but it's a practice that has been done for years now.
No, it's because nobody is speaking. Because we all are benefiting from it, from this criminal agreement and criminal arrangement. I want to ask you, sir, are the aliens that are demanding for this money, they are our uncles and our aunties, our brothers and our sisters, our fathers and our mother, because we are benefiting from it. We accommodated it, we adapted, there is no problem. But if police tell you, say, pay money for bail, you will abuse police.
Okay, now, I'm
coming, I'm on the floor. If police collects 200 naira from you on the street, you will call on radio and complain. But your father is collecting caution fee. Sir, we have Tenants Association of Nigeria, River State chapter. Where is that organization?
We do?
An organization that should protect the interests of tenants in River State. But that body has been hijacked by landlords. Sir, are you aware we have the ministry, which we call the Commissioner for Housing and Urban Development? In this part of the world, most of us are not exposed enough to understand the offices we hold. On a normal, the Commissioner for Housing supposed to open a desk for all the tenants in River State. Please, if you have any complaint, report it. I'm the one taking housing. It's a matter of
however, wait, hold on. What is obtainable? What's obtainable from what I've read, and we're going to get a lawyer, I think this week or next week, to help us elucidate, is that the proper thing is your rent should not be increased beyond more than 2 years at a stretch.
I'm coming there, Jude. I'm coming there to what the law says. What the law says. I'm looking at the political angle of growing the states now. The law have said that I want to be abridging the law. I stand to be corrected. Landlords have increased them. Some people just 2 years old, they are living in the house. They have increased the house 2 times, the rent 2 times. And the tenants don't know who to report to. So you find that all this is an aberration. Something happened in my street last week. Somebody just came in, yes, it's a new building, Virgin, 1-bedroom flat, 1.1 million. I was told. And I woke up to the owner of the property. I said, oh God, you will not do this in these streets. And I told the securities on the street, anybody that comes here that is an agent, them away from this street. I don't want to say anybody called agent here, but it's a problem. There was no security crime rate. I was the one who put an end to crime. Now this street, they bubble. There is street light, everything. You won't go increase price, it no go happen. See, if we all can stand to protect our neighbor, if we can stand to protect somebody close to us, this wicked attitude will not be perpetuated. Why should you be increasing house rent like that? Why should you call a precaution fee, legal? Even most of the legal fee are talking about, you don't even see the lawyer. Oh. You don't even see a lawyer there. Oh. Yet you pay that money.
All right, Zion, thank you very much. More callers, and indeed we have more points to get to. Now, the last caller says he feels that these people, they're his views, are criminals. They're carrying criminal activity. But in front of me here is the right to refundable security deposit. That's what we call caution fee, right? Now, this deposit is typically paid at the beginning of the tenancy and is meant to serve as a form of insurance for the landlord against any potential damage or damages or unpaid rent that may occur during the tenancy period. It's in front of me here. So, like I said, I want to get we all things because we will get a lawyer to as it were elucidate further. But from your own standpoint, from the little you know, which is what I'm asking this morning, and please, a big apologies to any lawyer who's listening this morning. This is not an affront to your good position, but the people are asking why are these type of scenarios happening and seemingly being backed by some practitioners. Once again, do you think your landlord has been following the tenancy agreement that he gave you? Has he refunded your security deposit, aka your caution fee? Does he wait 2 years or 3 years, right, before he increases the rent, right? Some good landlords haven't increased their rent in 4 or 5 years. I know somebody for 5 years they have been staying in that particular apartment. Not once did the rent go up from Jonathan to Buhari. It's now that the rent is about to increase. And interestingly, let me give this as an example. Interestingly, there was a meeting. The tenants came through. Oga landlord, please, let's talk about this rent. We know you have to increase the rent, but this money you are asking for is a little too much. Let us negotiate. What's the fairest thing? Bottom line, the rent was increased by about 30%. 30%. And so they said, oh, landlord, let's bring it down to 20%. 30 is too much. You can't increase the rent from, this to this. Let's bring it down. I see they bite you, they bite me. And the landlord agreed. But some landlord associations have spiked their rents by more than 70%. Like the last caller said, who did they report to? Tombiabo from Tombia, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. June.
Good morning, please.
Yes, okay. I want to really appreciate Mr. Zion that point. I think most of the things that I going to say he has already said it, because even me, sometimes I wonder why landlords will make it a duty for the legal fee thing. I don't really see any legality in that.
Well, there is some, because it's a contract. It means that if you do this or do that, or if the landlord does it or does that, you can't take that document to court. And the legal fee there is the lawyer who is in charge of that premise. At least that is the basis of the quote unquote legal fee.
But exactly what Mr. Zion just said. Most of the times you don't even see the lawyers.
No, you don't.
Most of the time you don't even see lawyers. They don't bring a document for you to sign. That's what you're paying the money for.
True.
Look. I don't know if this increment of rent happens in other states. It's as frequent as it happens in states. We need to look into it. Even the government agencies are not talking. They're not talking because they The poor masses on the street are suffering. A lot of persons are suffering from this menace.
So let me ask you quickly, and I know it's an emotive question, but I dare you to answer as honestly and impartially as possible, sir. Do you think most of the landlords in Port Harcourt have actually kept to their tenancy agreements?
If I think what?
The landlords have kept to the tenancy agreements. Do you think that they have done their part? Most of them have not. Muriel is on the line from Okrika. Muriel, good morning to you.
Hi, Jude, good morning.
Good morning, please.
Jude, this is what happened to someone I know recently, just last week. She has a shop, she's running, and a neighbor close to her, they are doing the same business. But this her neighbor plans to extend her business. So she went to their landlady and paid for this other person's shop. Because this other lady pays maybe half a year. That's how she pays. Gradually, she's a single mother with 2 children that she's struggling. So their neighbor, who is a friend, they always discuss. In fact, they are together. Went behind her to pay for the rent. And this lady that is there struggling wanted to, when the rent has expired, want to go and renew her rent. The landlady said, no, they've already paid for your shop for a long time ago. They're just waiting for you to pack up. So when something like this happens to a person, where do you go to? Are you even enlightened enough to know that your landlady can be sued? Do you know what they do now, the landlords and landladies? They don't even issue you receipts. As you pay, especially when you're renting a shop, they say, I don't pay now. If you insist on a receipt, to ensure that if you insist too much, wait till one can do all those, before you know, they give you quick notice, it becomes an issue. So you don't.
That is a big problem. Muriel has a point there. So if you don't have any physical documentation, how can you then prove that your rent has expired or that the quick notice given to you is justified? Once again, you are meant to be given a quick notice of about 6 months. My quick notice was given to me a whole year, like when we were renewing the rent. The landlord came, gave us a letter. Look, from next year, the rent will be so and so amount. So we had an entire year to prepare for that rent. Let's get to WhatsApp messages, please. 0809-030-6416. 0809-030-6416. All right, that's where you find us on WhatsApp and Telegram. Please don't call the number. Just send us a message. Now, being a lawyer is not for charity. A worker needs to be rewarded for doing his or her job. So the lawyer is on active duty. Also, my previous landlord and lawyer were a blessing to me. They didn't stress me, so there was no need stressing them. When I had some major things to change in my apartment, I had to change it from my own pocket without telling them. I have never seen such kind of people in my life before. Engineer Michael with that. Well, that's good. I like good stories, right? Not everybody is bad. The entire pot can't be, destroyed in this conversation. Good morning, presenter. My landlord increased my rent from 250,000 naira to 400,000 naira, right? For a house I've stayed for over 7 years without any form of renovation. Chris, at least, increased it by just 50% from 250 to 400,000. I'm not saying that it is fair or not fair, but based off of the, best practice, right? In that duration, he's being fair, because if in 7 years he never increased the rent, fine, he never carried out any renovation. If he didn't increase the rent for 7 years and finally increased the rent by just 50%, because 400 from 250 is 150,000 naira. It's even less, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 150,000 naira. So it's less than 50%. Less than 50%, because if it was 50%, it would have been 125,000 naira, right? Wait, wait, hold up. Let me do my math very carefully. 400 from 250 is 150k, right? Good. Now, half of 250k is 125k. Oh, actually increased the rent more than 50%. He did. I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sorry. Your landlord is one of the people who we're talking about, apparently. I'm sorry. All right. Good morning, Jude. It is really worrisome, these landlord and tenant issues. My own apartment is a 2-bedroom, and I've been there for the past 7 years. And suddenly, the landlord brought a lawyer. Immediately, he brought an agreement with 15% of my rent, which was 300,000 naira. Within 6 months, it is increased to 450K. And within another 5 months, 300,000 naira, while nothing like repairs or renovation. The tenants are having a problem with the landlords. Shouldn't the lawyers, bring fairness and equity into these type of scenarios? Why would any lawyer, be part of an agreement that apparently is ultra-virus to the norms, if I can say so? But anyway, please don't hold me for this, because I'm not a lawyer, and we'll get a lawyer, to explain some of these things in front of me. The document in front of me says 50%. For about 2 or 3 years. You can increase the rent. The ideal practice is 2 or 3 years, increase the rent. But this doesn't make sense. You increase the rent in 5 months. And in the last 6 months, you now increase it again. No. That doesn't sound fair. It doesn't. It truly doesn't. And I don't even know this person. More messages. I get back to the phone lines very quickly. Take one more call. Good morning, Jude. Most landlord and landladies collect caution fee with the intention of not refunding the same amount to the tenant, whether or not the tenant destroys anything in the property. Caution fee is a big scam, and it is quite unfortunate. That's from Golden. Now, my landlord increased my rent all because his children's school fees also increased. So I increased my rent to beat up his children's school fees. Nothing like renovation on any form. Last year, water entered my apartment, and all he said was, "No be only your house nah." Lucky from Port Harcourt. See, these are the complaints. These are the complaints, good people. Once again, we do hope that the government is listening. All right, good morning, Jude. I agree with the contribution of Mrs. Zion. Honestly, if we don't stand up for our neighbors for justice, very soon we'll all face this injustice. One day. All right, good morning, Jude. Once again, it's time for us to have lawyers coming like you used to do on your show so that more people get aware of what should be done. Oh, yes, we are working on that. But it's good. We get this like a vox pop. We're getting to see and hear more of these types of stories. Good morning, Jude. Oh, I said I was going to go back to the phone line. Good morning, Jude. In Port Harcourt here, it's becoming a menace. There are a lot of great landlords. But the truth is, many of these landlords have just become sucking blood to their tenants. Any small thing, they will increase the rent. My rent has not been stable for the past 4 years. Every year, my landlord is increasing my rent. That is not a good sign. That really isn't a good sign. Every year, you increase every year. Look, let's just try and see things from the landlord's perspective, right? They have children. They go to market. They have medical bills. Some even have 2 wives, and they really don't want to go on the streets and start begging you for money to feed their own children. Now, do they? I don't think so. But is it fair? Is it expedient? Some of the ways that they've carried out the operations of their, tenancy agreement. Good morning, Jude. Good morning to you, by the way. Please, there's also need to talk about the wicked activities of the so-called agents. Imagine an agent collecting a movement fee and taking you to a property that is either taken or not even available for rent in the name of hustle. I have insulted most of them in my estate who were involved in that nonsense in the name of doing agent work. They also play a role in the ridiculous increment of rent. Obi with that comment. That's very terrible. That's very terrible. You take people to places that has already been given out. But they have to pay you to take you to that place. Why do that? The fact that someone is a lawyer, this is on WhatsApp, the fact that someone is a lawyer doesn't mean that they are moral or ethical human beings. Some lawyers happily defend people they know committed rape, murder, or armed robbery. So, forging paperwork for crooked landlords is no big deal for some landlords. For some lawyers. Once again, to the lawyers, to the learned people of society, the question is in your court. It truly is. Good morning, Jude. So my landlord has also increased the rent in the apartment every year. He gave me a quick notice because I told him that this was not right after we had an agreement that he was going to increase the rent 2 years after mine. 7 months into my rent, he sent a lawyer and issued me a quick notice that his rent has increased to 400,000 naira. That's the kind of world we live in. Anonymous from Port Harcourt. Good morning, please.